All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Charley, and as I said, I'm the Vice President for the Success School at the Chamber, and we do all of these kind of financial literacy, entrepreneurship, soft skills, et cetera, things for students. And obviously, we're trying to continue that even during COVID, and this is one big part of it is having these career panels. There he is. Awesome. So we're gonna just start with introductions of you guys. So if you could just give your name, the industry you work in, your employer, and your job title, that'd be great. And I'll start with Emily because you're the one who's in front of me.
Okay. My name's Emily Bigley. I am an admissions recruiter at Lift Academy, which is a flight school based out of Indianapolis International Airport. And we are actually owned by Republic Airways, which is a regional airline that flies for American, Delta, and United. So we are kind of the flight portion, and we kind of flow through to the airlines.
Awesome. And then Neil.
Yes, my name is Neil Patzner. I'm the owner of Riverway Plumbing and Mechanical. We service Bloomington area. We, I don't know, started from Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and just moved down here for my wife relocating, and that's how we started here.
Awesome. And then Rex, if you're on in there, if you want to introduce yourself. Don't think we can hear you. Okay, well, I'll introduce him. This is Rex. He works for Cook Aviation. I don't know his exact job title, but they do a huge range of things for airplanes and that kind of thing. So, oh, there you are. There's Rex.
Okay, now you hear me?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, now you got me. Okay, sorry about that. I tell you, these crazy Zoom meetings are really fun. So anyway, my name is Rex Hinkle, and I'm president and general manager of Cook Aviation, and I've been with the company 35 years, and I've been president for 24. So we handle lots of the teams that come in and out and all the traffic that comes into Bloomington, Indiana.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, you guys. So what we're going to lead into is obviously, I think what most students want to know is how you ended up here or how they can end up in a field like yours. So if you want to share your kind of path, how you got to where you are now, that'd be really great. And we can just start with Emily again.
Yeah, so I actually majored in human resources. I graduated from Ball State University, and I was kind of looking around at some internships and found an internship actually after graduation with Republic Airways, and that kind of led me to being the recruiting intern for Lift Academy. And then I was still, on the job search since it was since I had already graduated. So actually ended up hiring me full time. So I've been there for a little over a year now. So that's kind of how I got into my role, and some other recruiters kind of gotten similar roles as well, just through interning. But how some of our students have kind of come to be, part of the aviation industry. We have, a wide range of students that come from, various different backgrounds and kind of got into aviation in different ways. A lot of, students have family members that, have been in aviation for years and years, either, family members have been in the military, or mom or dad was a pilot or a flight attendant. And so they're kind of going down that path as well. We also have some career changers where, this is a second career for them. They always loved aviation, but it wasn't feasible. And so they were kind of, making that switch to where now it is a little bit more feasible and attainable. So they're kind of jumping into it now. And we also have students that come straight out of high school. So really all walks of life we see all the time at our school. So it's not completely out of reach. It's definitely something that you can get into no matter what your background is.
Awesome. Neil, you're welcome to go next.
So I originally born in Wisconsin. I was a farm kid. always worked with my hands. All my other sisters and brothers went to college. I didn't. I chose the trade path. Went into diesel mechanic. Then I worked for a company that did plumbing and excavating, and I worked on all their equipment. While the equipment was never broke down, I started doing plumbing. Really liked enjoying being outside, doing things outside, and that's how I got. I realized that plumbing was more of my choice than diesel mechanic, so I switched careers again. Worked for the union for 10 years up in Minneapolis, St. Paul, got really well trained. Then I moved down here. My wife works for Cook, and she, moved down here. And then, so I started my own business. And when you put out quality product, things kind of blossomed, and people wanted more people to do more. And so when you have product out there that people enjoy, you have this feeling of great, accomplishment, and you see buildings being put up under your name, and you see quality put up. You continuously thrive on the quality of the systems that you do, and you want to always improve. I mean, I've been in business in Bloomington over 10 years, and I see a lot of companies stay stagnant, and they do the same thing over and over, and they're not keeping up with the times, the engineering part of plumbing. I mean, everyone thinks of the plumber as a person that gets underneath your sink and bends over and you get a view. It's not all about that anymore. It's new technology. It's new, you're always learning. You get to feel, different aspects of the trade. We started our own mechanical side now, so I'm branching into HVAC, and you get to do mini splits, and I got one back behind me. But there's new technology that are always continuing, and I like working with my hands. And I'll be honest, this trade pays really well if you're willing to put effort into it. I've got guys that make up $100,000 just by being in the trades. They get a base commission, and then they get bonuses on how much they want to do and how much they want to complete. And like I said, my lead guy makes over $100,000 a year.
Wow, that's awesome to hear. Makes me think about my degrees. If you want to go ahead, Rex.
Oh, okay. All righty. So I started my aviation career in Indianapolis, and what got me started in aviation was the Goodyear blimp, believe it or not. So this is really good. Every year I would go out to the Indianapolis International Airport and see the Goodyear blimp and think, this is just so cool. How does this thing fly? How can I be an airship pilot? What do I need to do? So I did some research and found out that I needed to get my private and commercial and instrument rating, which I did. And so I had aviation training at Indianapolis Eagle Creek on the west side of Indianapolis. And the very first time I was ever in the air was in the Goodyear blimp. So there's not too many people that can say that I was in the air the very first time was in the Goodyear blimp. And I got to ride it 2 different times. And it was just, I knew, I was dropped on my head at that point. I knew that I would have to be in the aviation field at that point. So I worked in aviation I secured a job in aviation up in Indy, and worked at Eagle Creek, and then moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and worked in aviation for a while in Phoenix, and then came back. I did purchase an airplane, so I bought my first airplane before I knew how to fly, which is kind of unusual. I did everything different than everybody else, so I decided buying an airplane was what I needed to do. So I bought an airplane and received my private commercial and instrument rating with that airplane. Then I had to rent a complex airplane for the commercial part, and I had the airplane completely decked out for an IFR instrument flight school rating in that airplane. And then I found out that they needed some help down here in Bloomington, so I moved to Bloomington and worked in aviation here with Torp Aero Service, and then Cook purchased the company back in 1988. So we started the company January 1st of 1988. I'm the original employee. There's two of us that are original. My office manager and I are the original employees of the company. And so we've been in business for, well, I have aviation experience for the last 40 years in aviation. I'm a lot older than I look. I feel old and I feel young, so it kind of goes both ways. But aviation is definitely what I have enjoyed doing. And you know, there are so many different aviation careers. So you don't have to be like president of the company. There's so many different things that you can do in aviation. You can be an air traffic controller. You can work for the National Transportation Safety Board, the NTSB, and those are the government agency that goes out and checks to find out what happened with this airplane. Why is it not? Why did it have an issue? There's just so many different careers. I mean, if you're interested in being a mechanic on an airplane, that's something you could get into. If you wanted to be a flight attendant, as what you had said earlier, flight attendant rules. There are just so many different areas. I mean, we have people here at the Monroe County Airport that go out and mow the grass here, and we need people to do that. I've got a person that works on our trucks, our fuel trucks. So there's lots of different opportunities within aviation, and the field is wide open. There are so many different jobs. Something's called avionics. A lot of people don't even know what the word avionics means, and that's someone who works on radios and different, like the GPS systems in airplanes and things like that. So there are all kinds of different careers out there within the aviation field.
Awesome. So good. Like, you guys all have very interesting stories, and then even more information about what students can be doing. I don't know what a lot of those words you guys used are. So I think it shows just how broad all of your fields are to get into and what you can be doing. And so you guys all talked about really great stuff in your fields, but I kind of want to hear the flip side. What do you think the biggest challenge is right now in your field, in your industry? What do you think the biggest challenge is for people who want to get into your industry? You can tackle that however you want.
Yeah, so I'd say right now, obviously, you know, with just the economic environment and COVID right now, like a lot of companies, airlines are kind of on a hiring freeze right now. So that's kind of a challenge for especially our school, because we, you know, we're designed to create airline pilots. And, you know, like Rex was talking about, we also have an A&T apprenticeship. So if you like to do, you know, the more hands-on and do mechanic side, we also have that. So you know, right now with that hiring freeze, and our school is designed to kind of move up to the airlines. Right now they're kind of just still hanging out with us, which we love to keep them around longer, but you know, that end goal is still kind of in sight. So it's just their timeline is stretched a little bit longer, which is fine. But so I'd say that's kind of a challenge right now in the industry, which, you know, a lot of industries are experiencing that. So no one really ever anticipated this. So we're just kind of rolling with the punches, and everyone's being, you know, good sports about it. But you know, financing is also a big issue, you know, in flight training, aviation in general. It's sometimes hard to get into. And so for individuals that are, you know, looking at, you know, making that as a career, you just kind of have to do some extra research, and you have to kind of get out there and see, you know, what other opportunities and what kind of lenders are available to you and your financial situation. It's not completely unattainable for anyone. If, you know, you want to make it happen, definitely hard work will get you a long way with that. So I'd say financing is probably one of the biggest barriers that we're kind of experiencing, especially at Lyft right now. Due to COVID, you know, we don't have as many lenders as we did beforehand. So just kind of getting those individuals that want to make this a career actually, you know, happen for them is something that we're, you know, kind of taking day by day. So always still looking around for different lenders and whatnot, but still attainable for anyone that's looking at it. You just have to kind of do a little bit extra research and a little bit more hard work.
My biggest thing is not many people are talking about becoming a plumber or HVAC tech. usually we get people are second generation where their dads or they had family members that are becoming second generation. Otherwise, you don't get outsiders becoming plumbers or mechanicals. And so if people don't really know and understand it, you know, in high school, there was a checklist of being a teacher, doctor, pilot, lawyer, but there wasn't a checklist for a plumber or, you know, an HVAC guy, anybody, electrician. They're just not really well known. And everybody's pushing the college degree, you know, got to get a college degree. But what they don't understand is there's a lot of jobs that don't need a college degree. You know what I mean? You just need a good work ethic, show up, learn a trade, and be good at it, and be successful. And that's the hardest part, is getting people to know that, you know, that the possibilities are there for a really good living without, you know, a 4-year degree. Am I supposed to continue?
You can go ahead, Rex. I think you have to unmute.
Okay, did that do it? Okay. So, yeah, I think there are quite a few challenges within aviation to a certain extent. One thing is, oh my gosh, there's so many different regulations that we have to abide by. So if there's anything real negative, but at the same time, it's positive because there are agencies with the government that are put in place to make sure that things are safe. Because with aviation, safety is number one. Totally number one, safety is. And so the regulations are changing on the hour, on the half hour. Things have changed a lot with COVID, with what we're experiencing at this point. Things are, aviation has slowed down quite a bit, as what you said at one point, aviation has slowed down. But I think it's going to come back. We did have a really good August with the students coming back, and things were pretty much about where they were, but September, it's slowing down now at this point some. But I just think people need to look at the different options within aviation, and some other obstacles you might have would be financial issues. And there are a lot of different grants out there, and there's a lot of different scholarships that can be awarded to you through different universities. And some of the universities that would be good to look at, obviously Purdue out of West Lafayette, Indiana. Purdue is just a great organization. They have a 2-year and a 4-year program. So the 4-year program is more of the flight part of it, and the 2-year program is more for the administration part of aviation. Another great school is Terre Haute, which is Indiana State. They do a great job over there with aviation careers. Another one is Vincennes. So Vincennes does a lot with the aviation maintenance part of our field. So there are obstacles, but you know what? You can overcome those obstacles. And for me, I mean, experience has a lot to do with it. And what the other gentleman was talking about, I mean, if you have common sense and you come to work and you're an ethical person, you're going to succeed in life. And I know we put a lot of emphasis on college, and I think if you can get into a 2-year program someplace, because if you feel like a 4-year program is too long or it doesn't work in your situation, I think everyone could do a 2-year program if they wanted to, if they put their mind to it. And I think just if you focus on what your end goal is, that helps so much to get to where you're going. Look at the carrot at the end of the tunnel and focus yourself on that, and you will succeed. You will succeed.
Awesome. Great point for you all. And I think the big thing we can all take away is working hard, regardless of your accolades, is going to get you where you need to be. And I think that's really great for students to hear. And I think a lot of students need to hear that right now. And so a lot of you guys hinted at kind of at how COVID is affecting things and where you are right now. But what do you predict will happen to your field or industry in the next 5 to 10 years? Where do you see it going? What do you think is going to change? Do you see it flourishing more? Do you see it kind of maybe taking a step back? I mean, we need these things that you guys are all doing, but where do you see it going from here?
Yeah, so right now, obviously with COVID, things are a little bit different. And so it's maybe a little bit slower. I mean, earlier this year, aviation was probably at its height as far as, the commercial airlines, they were, really thriving, and they were needing a lot of people, to become pilots, because kind of like what Neil was talking about, being a pilot isn't something that everyone just assumes that it's attainable and they can, get into that field. You hear teacher, you hear, doctor and things like that, but pilot isn't always one of those. And a lot of people don't know pilots, and so they don't think of that even being an option for them. And so, they were needing, there's kind of this gap. The mandatory retirement age for a pilot is 65, and the average age of a pilot right now is 60. So there's a lot of people that are going to be retiring soon, and there's not enough, younger individuals or, middle-aged individuals to kind of take the lead on that. So there was a huge, like, looming pilot shortage, prior to COVID, and now that's kind of reeled back in. But fully expecting, the aviation industry to kind of make a comeback. It may take 1 or 2 years just to kind of get people comfortable with flying again. Obviously, the airlines are taking a lot of precautions to, be safe and things like that, but still people are a little bit leery, which is understandable. So it may take some time for travel to pick back up, but, business travel and even leisure travel after kind of being cooped up, definitely expect that to kind of make a comeback. So in the next 1 or 2 years, I think a misconception is to, maybe now is not a great time to get into it, but in the airline, seniority is everything. And it does take time to, become a pilot. So in the next 1 or 2 years, if you start your training now, you're going to be ready for when they want to get all the pilots to come back. So that looming pilot shortage that was, a big thing at the beginning of the year that maybe isn't so much right now is going to be even bigger at the end of all of this, because there was a hiring freeze, so they weren't having new pilots come in, and unfortunately some pilots were furloughed, and so there's going to be a need for it, for sure. So in the next 5 or 10 years, aviation's going to look a whole lot different than it does today. So not sure what all that will entail, hopefully more, environmentally friendly and things like that. I know that that was kind of a big part of the CARES Act, some of the stipulations for COVID when the airlines got assistance. So definitely going to look different, but there's a huge market for being a pilot, or, even anyone in the aviation industry. We need mechanics and, everything else that goes into that, because without, having those other vital parts to it, we can't fly the plane. So there's just going to be a huge market for that. And I see that kind of only continuing to grow once we kind of get over this hump that we're in right now.
So 5, 10 years from now, things are going to look a lot different. You're going to see price increases, because just like she said, a lot of the baby boomers that are all going to retire, we're the last generation of hard workers. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's the younger generations that were hard workers, and there's still generations under that still work hard. But those are the last generation that is still holding up their end of the bargain. And what you're going to see is you're going to see a fall off of a lot of older people in the trades, because our average plumber mechanical is like 57 to, age 57. And these people are not going to work past 62, 65, and so you're going to see a decrease in numbers. You're going to see an increase in prices. That means wages go up, so there's going to be a higher demand. It's going to be more, I got a feeling the trades are going to be a higher paid commodity than a 4-year degree. And that's just where it's going to be. I have an office staff that probably makes more than some college students, and I have plumbers that make more than 4 years, college students. But it's still the mentality, the mindset of somebody becoming a trade or getting into a trade. A lot of people just want to go right into a factory and have their their 8-hour job day, and they think there's nothing else better for them. And it's just not, it's just not being seen or taught or put in schools. So in 10 years from now, you're going to see more technology. There's already computerized systems to manage that. There's blockages, water flowage, there's so many different components of the plumbing side, the HVAC side, variable speeds. I'm talking, technical, but people don't understand this, but that's part of being a trade, is you get to learn what you know best and you get to make a living of it.
So as Emily had stated, and totally agree, we are losing lots of pilots at this point. A lot of them are retiring. And a lot of the military people are going to retire, which is great for them, which is great. And that's opening up the field. And we really need more pilots coming through the ranks. And if we don't have enough pilots, then that means a lot of the mechanics are timing out at this point. And the people that are working on the avionics, and the people that are working on the aircraft tugs, the people who are working on fuel trucks, the people who are actually fueling the airplanes. So there's a number of issues. And today is 9/11/2020, and our aviation industry changed. It totally changed 19 years ago. And there are more regulations, and it just seems like all the time there are even more regulations that we have to abide by. In the aviation field, I didn't even talk about people who screen passengers. That's the TSA. And there's just all kinds of different avenues that you can go through within the field of aviation. And the next 5 years, I see that really opening up, that we're going to need many, many, many more people in those jobs. And as time progresses, like you say, wages go up, and you're going to be paid more and more every single year as things go up. So aviation is wide open. The field is wide open, and it's a really fun place to be. I love people, and people have a lot to do with aviation, because we interact a lot with people. And there again, if you're not a people person, you might be more of a somebody who likes to work with machinery. Well, airplanes are machines, and that was for me. I thought I wanted to be an airship pilot, and I thought I wanted to fly for a living. And I decided, working with that airplane was awesome, but working with people is even more awesome for me. And so I think everyone has skills. God has given us all skills, and we need to hone in on what those skills might happen to be. And for me, it's more for meeting people and helping people. And so that's kind of the road that I took. And there's just different areas that you can take within the aviation industry, and it's very rewarding.
So as we close up, I think kind of all of you have hinted at this, and I know coming from a lot of my family does trades, so I always kind of recognized the importance and knew that that's always a path, and kind of saw the motivation behind it. But I think all of you hinted at, you're going to need people. You're going to need more people. So do you have anything to leave students with to kind of maybe motivate them or think about this path as their alternative to a college degree or some other type of career? Do you have any final words basically to just say, hey, this is something you should look into?
Yeah, I think for me personally, obviously, education is important. However, also finding something that you enjoy doing and can make a living of it is also important. So if you like to do, things with your hands, or if you have a passion for traveling and exploring and, things like that, I think if you can make a career out of that, you're going to be, way better off because you're doing something that you enjoy. And these fields, are not bad paying jobs. So you're going to get to have, the luxuries of, a nice paying job, without maybe having to go into debt. Not that, college is a bad option. We do have college opportunities to where you can further your education and you can kind of set yourself apart with degrees, but, finding something that you do like to do. And like what Rex was saying, we all have talents and skills. And so if you can kind of hone in on those and make a career out of it, I think that that's awesome. So just kind of honing in on what it is that you enjoy and what you're good at and what you like to do, and seeing what career opportunities, hopefully trades, that would kind of lead you down that path to having that lifelong career, I think is really important. So definitely just kind of find those things that you enjoy doing.
I mean, I agree. I mean, if you like working with your hands and you like, being with people and seeing success, being built, that's, where we are. The good news is that in a trade like plumbing and mechanical, you start with no debt. It's a job on training. So you're making, starting from $12 to $14 an hour, and you are going all the way up past $30 an hour. That's today's day. But by the time, if you put in 5 years, it could be $40 an hour, plus, whatever benefits you can, manage, or if you're good, everything's negotiable. So, don't set yourself, low. I mean, you can always go in a factory and you can make $12 to $14 an hour, and it could be a good life for you. But also, the sky's the limit with a trade. There's a lot of guys that work for me and they do things on the side. And, they make well over 100,000 plus, you know what I mean? So I don't, some of the unions, they have a top pay, and they frown about other people or doing other work, for other people, because it's kind of a union lock type deal. I was in a union, so I was told not to do it. But there's trades where you don't lock in unions, and you get to do things on your own and make extra money. So if you have an extra car payment and you want to make a payment, you install somebody's water heater and make it $200. There's so much about a trade that is such a bonus to get yourself out of debt, you know what I mean, by knowing a trade that you never, you get this, and I guess my main thing is, if you take anything with any job, it's all about budgeting. If you can't budget, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You can make 100,000 if you can't learn how to save and put things away. Then a $12 hour job is going to be just fine for you, because you're going to be limited to what you can spend. And so, to be all honest, I wish schools would really emphasize on budgeting, and make this a better place, because right now it's all about how much money I can get and how much money I can spend. And it's not, it's, love the money you make and enjoy the money you make, because, we only got a short time, and spending the rest of your time in debt is not the way to do it.
So I agree definitely with Emily and with Neil. Everything that you guys have said, I completely agree. Some people, a 4-year or longer degree is what they need, and a 2-year program is good, or maybe not even going to college at all and actually starting into the field and actually working in what you want to do. As Emily said, you need to be focused and do what you would like to do, because this life is short and we all need to be happy with what we do. It is horrible to come into work if you don't want to be there, and you need to be focused on finding the different skills that you have and hone in on those and elaborate on those and go for it. Whether that means a college degree or whether that means a vocational degree or a job hands-on. And I would definitely hire somebody who had some hands-on training versus college. I mean, college is important, yes. It depends what it is you're doing, but I tell you, the actual hands-on job is what I'm looking for too whenever I'm getting ready to hire somebody. So good luck to everyone, and hope you find your niche in life.
Yeah, I think that you guys all hit the nail on the head. Like, I think college degrees are for some people, 2-year degrees, whatever you want. Just make sure you're doing it for yourself and it's actually something you love. Because why go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt if you can do something else that you love equally and you don't need to do that? And if that's not for you, go. There's so many other paths. So I think it's really great to hear from you all that there can be so much more in life by doing whatever you like to do. And if that's a trade, that's really great. And so, yeah, that's really all I had for you all. Thank you so much for being here for our panel. I'm excited for students to be able to watch you guys and learn more about trades and what paths they can go on. And this will be up on our website hopefully soon, probably pretty quickly after we get done with this. So yeah, thank you again, and have a great rest of your Friday.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.